Hello you guys and welcome to the Ant-Man channel. If this is your first time, welcome. I usually read a lot of stuff here. I read off of the Christian Post, WND.com, which is WorldNet Daily, Times of Israel. What else do I read off of? Doug Giles and I think it's his wife or something. I don't really know. Doug Giles' website and his wife's website, which is ClashDaily, and the other one is Girls Just Want to Have Guns. I read from whatever, whatever gives me something to talk about. And I have three articles here. 4 articles. I'll just get into this one. This one's from ClashDaily. Yeah, you guys, I don't pre-prepare these things, and I'm not reading off a teleprompter. So if you guys want, because I've seen some critique out there about me, and yeah, so what? I'm sloppy. So what? You know what I mean? I'm a real person, dude. I'm not reading off of a teleprompter, and I'm not pre-packaging these things for you. They come straight off of the top of the dome, which you should be impressed by the way. But I'm not trying to really I'm not trying to fish for compliments here, but I'm just saying, wouldn't you rather hear something real from someone who is real than off of like some dopey person wearing a suit reading off of a teleprompter who isn't telling you the truth, who's distracting you? Because you guys, man, the mainstream media is made to distract you. Come on, you guys. They're notoriously known for lying, man. Why are you going to continue to buy into this stuff, man? It's just... Man, if you guys want to see a video that'll trip you out, go to Pro Constitutioner's channel and watch the blood sacrifice for McDonald's video. Come on, you guys, wake up, man. I mean, the people that are behind all the stuff that you see going on that you don't like in the world, man, they laugh at you because they tell you they do it, and you're too stupid to do anything about it. And that's just the truth about it, man. You're considered cattle to them. It's scary. Disgusting. 20 Reasons Why Thomas Jefferson Would Crush Obama and His Anti-American Ilk, written by Doug Giles on August 24, 2014. If TJ is in heaven right now, and he's able to peer through some celestial portal and behold the BS Barack has saddled this nation with, a country, by the way, that Jefferson labored to make independent from tyrants, then I would bet that Thomas is more ticked than a boar that just had its balls clipped. I would say, yeah. Compared to like the founding, the generation that was living back then, we're cowards, you guys. They didn't even put up with people taxing their tea. I mean, look at what we put up with now. It's really ridiculous, man. I mean, I don't know, man. Pretty soon, I think like pretty much like what I'm seeing in the world today is like they're trying to push you over the limit. Like they want you to get angry so that you can start fighting against them, but they know that you won't. Because they've created all of the things that keep you dumbed down and lethargic. They have created the programming on the television, the things that the mainstream media pushes, the gangbanger culture and the stupid rap music, that makes everybody an idiot and makes everyone want to be an alcoholic and a drug addict. They push the public school systems that make you worship authority and just say yes sir without ever questioning anything. The indoctrination of evolution, because it's really that the programming's so thick that the people that are asleep, it's hard to wake them up because they're afraid, and also because that these concepts they're sophisticated to get. That took me a couple of years to be up to date with what's going on. And don't be discouraged. Just continue to scratch the surface, and you'll get into these things, and you'll go in and you'll dive in deep into these things. And it's like what Jesus said, the truth will set you free. You guys got to not be afraid to know the truth and know how to think of solutions to our problems and strategically think out ways that we can get over this and overcome it and also expose it for the better. Because once we expose it, then everyone's aware, and then everybody can go up against these guys, and we can live in a better world. So how do I know Jefferson would loathe Obama and seek to jettison our jester-in-chief? Well, it's principally via Thomas's musings. Musings that, for the time being, we're still afforded the wherewithal to access. Principles that also happen to have made our nation great and that used to be taught in our school system. I'm proud to, I always bring this up too. I probably have this in like every video I mention this. I get my education, my liberal arts education from Hillsdale College. And I have to say that they are the best, dude. Like, the liberal arts, the liberal education is a higher learning. That's what it really is. It's a higher type of learning, and what I mean by that is that, you see, for the last 100 years, by design, the progressives have been brainwashing people to think a different way. And through the Industrial Revolution, they have had the opportunity to get everybody to think and be centered on materialism instead of being spiritual. And what I mean by that, because spirituality isn't like, well, I know when you think of that, you think of someone who's out of touch with reality or he's weird or whatever. But no, man, the person who is a spiritual person, man, is deeply, deeply strengthened and moved by the Spirit and knows the truth. Nowadays, everything's so superficial. Like, everything's so, like, on the surface. Like, if somebody gets angry, that justifies that they're right nowadays. Like, oh, I'm angry, so I'm right. That's how stupid people are. And they look on the outside to judge people. And I think it's really, I didn't even need to read the Bible to know this, that God, he looks at the heart of a person and know who they are. And that's how everybody should look at a person, is that you, if anything, if you're going to judge a person for who they are, it should be from the heart. It shouldn't be from how they look or what they do. Because, like, what you do as a job doesn't determine who you are as a person. And the front that you might be putting up isn't who you really are. You know what I mean? Like, it's all, these are all, like, man, if I want to recommend a book right here, I finished reading this a while ago. It's Wild at Heart, and this is a good book because it teaches you why people put up fronts or why people are cowards. And it gets down to a very, very, like, deep truth. It has to do with having a father and having a good father. And when you have God as your father, man, come on. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, my channel's mainly made for Christians, but if anybody that's atheist is watching this, I understand that this is probably hard stuff for you to understand. Especially if you're argumentative and in denial and that you don't even look for the truth. You're not really earnestly and sincerely seeking truth. You just want to kind of, you just need to be like cheered on by your football player mentality, like you're winning a game that you're really not winning. Okay, you atheists, man, let me tell you something. Your guys' ideologies have brought more harm and chaos to this world than anything has, even religion. Your guys' ideologies is a religion, by the way. And you guys aren't even consistent in living by it, too, by the way. Plow through the following from one of our nation's illustrious framers, Quills, and try to tell me with a straight face that Jefferson wouldn't have sought to derail BHO via tooth, fang, and claw. 1. The spirit of resistance to government is so valuable on certain occasions that I wish it to be always kept alive. It will often be exercised when wrong, but better so than not to be exercised at all. I like a little rebellion now and then, and it is like a storm in the atmosphere. Just to point one thing out is that Romans 13 has been, by the government churches, these 501c3 churches and the ones that get taxpayer subsidies, they get told by the government what to and not to preach. You guys need to know that they, on purpose, misinterpret the book of Romans chapter 13 on purpose to Christians that are kind of wrapped up in the charismatic, emergent movement type of Christianity, the mainstream Christianity of today. It's pretty much as pagan as all the other religions, because it doesn't matter with whether you call yourself a Christian or not, you guys. It doesn't matter. You guys don't even have that right to say anything like that, because first of all, man, you're a sinner. In God's eyes, you're made right and all that, but to be level-headed with everybody else, man, you gotta be humble and you gotta be lowly, man, and be like, yeah, I'm a sinner, dude. You know what I mean? I'm not perfect. I sin, but it's just, that is not the center of the teaching in the charismatic movement, though. It's all about Jesus loves you and whatever, and I don't know, man. Christianity, dude, it's funny that when I run into people that have no idea what it is but hate it anyway, they think like we're supposed to just be nice to people, dude. And I think if the world is getting that they're getting that vibe from us, then we need to change that, because we're not here to be nice to everybody. We're here to tell people the truth, whether they like it or not, and whether you're going to be killed for it or not. You shouldn't care, because your treasures should be stored in heaven, because this life ultimately, man, is not. People sell out their souls, man, to the devil, to be famous and rich, and God, the God of Jesus, the Father of Jesus, our Father said, well, Jesus, what good is it to gain the whole world and then lose your soul? You're here for a little while, and then you die, and then you're forever somewhere else. And there's only two places to go. So when you mock God and you hate people because they believe in God, you're really just storing up more judgment for yourself, man. So, and realize that we're not your enemies, man. Your enemy is God. You hate God. And you want to take it out on us. And the reason why is because there's a lot of pain, man. There's a lot of hurt. And we all need to, like, admit that we're all, like, you know what I mean? Weak in some way. It's so to come across humility nowadays is like to come across a diamond or something. It's just rare. It's a rare thing to come across, because everybody has this front that puts up this front that we're all like independent and that we don't need nobody, and it's not true. Number two, it is error alone which needs the support of government. Truth can stand by itself, subject opinion to coercion. Whom will you make your inquisitor? your inquisitors. Excuse me. 3. A free people claim their rights as derived from the laws of nature and not as the gift of their chief magistrate. If you guys understand politics, and I know I do because I got a liberal education, which I'm proud of, that you know that the rule of law is not the concept of today's government. Our government's out of control. They don't respect you as a person anymore, because your rights, for example, if a homosexual and you own a business, homosexual walk into your business one day, and you don't run things the way that he wants you to run it. I mean, it's absurd. Think about how absurd this is. If someone is offended, because they're sensitive and weak, and they're a bunch of crybabies, and they want to be bossy. I don't want to use that word. They want to be tyrannical, because that's what it is. The rule of law, man. We have we know what the right of property is. James Madison wrote something called On Property, and what he really centered around is that your beliefs are your property, and nobody has the right to take away your property. Nobody can do. I hate it when I hear a gangbanger say that I was forced into the. No, you weren't. Because if somebody forced me to be a slave, I'd rather be dead. I'd fight before I became a slave. There's a line, man. You gotta, like, what are you willing? I love Martin Luther King Jr.'s quote that if a man is not willing to die for something, he is not fit to live. It's true, man. You'll sell out, man. You're just not good for humanity or this world, because you're just like, you think you're sitting on the fence, but there is no such thing. You think you're not hurting anybody, but there is no such thing. You are not living on an island where you don't affect everybody. You got to make decisions that are beneficial for everybody, and that they're a blessing. Be a blessing rather than a curse. It's funny that God says that in the Bible. He says, I have set before you blessings and curses, and what you choose is on you. You know what I mean? And it says that those that hate God love death. And when I look around at the culture, I see oh man, I didn't even understand. Like, I don't play video games as much as I did when I was younger, because people have ruined video games for me, because that's all they're centered around, and it just makes me disdain it. And I wish it wasn't that way, but people are too ridiculously centered around video games. Like, that's idolatry, man. But anyways, I enjoy things just as much as anybody else, but people in this world, especially in our days, are killing it for everybody like me, because I love God, and I don't like things trying to become God and put themselves above God in my mind. I don't like that. I gird up the loins of my mind. I'm a soldier for Christ. I fight for truth and liberty, man. I want to get the distractions away from me. I want to be centered on God, on Jesus. I want to be led by the Spirit, so that what's going on in my life is according to the will of God, and not something that's according to only my will. And but I saw Grand Theft Auto, the newer one, yesterday for the first time, because I don't play video games. But man, I could see why there's so much violence in the world, and why there's so many kids. I mean, instead of raising your kids People are just putting Netflix in front of them and video games in front of them all day, instead of like trying to nurture their faith, man. I mean, it's just no wonder, dude. No wonder the culture's cruel and hateful and centered around death, and why you have things like the knockout game and stuff, because it's all a video game. Their brains are like wired to. And man, we could get, and this is all by design, by the way. This isn't a coincidence, people. There's MK Ultra. There's all kinds of things like Project Paperclip. There's all kinds of things out there, dude, that are out in the open, declassified for you to understand and know. And the only reason why you're going to become a victim to the world is because of a lack of knowledge. The Word of God says that man and people die because of a lack of knowledge. People perish because they don't know. They don't have enough information about the things that are against them. We have three things against us. Our own flesh is against you. The devil's against you and the world's against you. You are in a war. But if you're not in the war, then you're idle and you're spiritually, you're not regenerated. You're living in the sin that Adam committed. You're living in that spirit, in that attitude of just standing by while the devil rapes everybody. And I don't mean to be so vulgar, but that's really like, that's what it is, man. He's just running around, man. I mean, I really got my heart ripped out of my chest today by that video on Pro Constitutioner's channel, because that is disturbing to know that McDonald's is serving you your kid. That is ridiculous. I mean, and I guarantee you that even though you know that, you're going to go get a burger later on. That's what I'm talking about here, people. You got to know that this is going on, and you got to make a decision to not go along with it and stand up to it and tell people about it. And the reason we don't tell people about it and we try to be all subliminal and all, like, all that is because deep down inside we do care what people think about us, because it does lead us down that road of how people are going to treat us and whatnot. But we need to get over that. We need to stop caring what people think, because ultimately, man, you know the truth and you should be bold about it, and you shouldn't care about people running away and hiding from the truth, because what can man do? Man can kill the body, but they cannot kill the soul. Be afraid of the one who can. Be afraid of God, because he can call you home today, and that doesn't mean you're going to stay there. He can call you in front of him right now to judge you right now, and where you end up ultimately is good, because God is good and he doesn't do anything that's evil. So if you go to hell, that's because that was what God, that was good of God to do. And that's crazy, but it's true, man. It's true, because we're not even close to what God is, man. So if people let the government decide what foods they eat and what medicines they take, their bodies will soon be in as sorry a state as are the souls of those who live under tyranny. Unfortunately, yeah, everybody's kind of like emotionally manipulated, and they're all manipulated by fear and ignorance as well. 5, the multiplication of public offenses, increase of expense beyond income, growth and entailment of a public debt are indications soliciting the employment of the pruning knife. 6, and can the liberties of a nation be thought secure when we have removed their only firm basis of a conviction in the minds of the people that their liberties are a gift from God? They are the gift of God, that they are not to be violated, but with his wrath. Indeed, I tremble for my country when I reflect that God is just, that his justice cannot sleep forever. Yeah, I'm kind of like, man, I'm in denial that we're going to get judged. America's going to get judged, because I don't want to believe that. I want to believe that we're going to have a revival. And I'm not talking about people becoming Christian. I'm talking about the Christians actually acting like Christians. Because the Christians, they need a revival. What the world needs is salvation. They need the gospel. But the Christians in America today, they need the fire that consumes us, that is God. They need to have a zeal of knowledge for God, because it's good to be zealous. But when we see zealous religious people in the world today, they're the ones that are hurting everybody. But us Christians, if we were zealous for God, we would be figuratively washing people's feet, doing the dirty work, doing the things that are, well, when I think of my pastor at my church that I go to, I think of like, man, I have so much admiration for the guy, because he does such a hard job and he does such a good job, and he counsels, and he does a lot of things that other pastors don't do. And he does it's such a thankless job, man. But man, God bless him. I know that God's going to reward him when he goes to heaven. 7, no free man shall be debarred the use of arms within his own lands or tenements. 8, the principle of spending money to be paid by posterity under the name of funding is but swindling futurity on a large scale. Sorry, I was really comforted by my brother the other day when he said, because it really showed me that, you know what I mean, that people are informed and people understand to a certain degree what's going on. And this is something that I've always meant to say in my mind, but he said it, that our generation, we screwed up, and our kids have to, the new generation is going to have to fix it. But the truth is that everybody has a certain, they can be influential. You just got to try. Everybody can do something. Everybody can put in their own work for this thing to turn around. You may not be doing the heavy lifting, but you can steer people in the right direction. Your job may not be the biggest and the most known and the most recognized, but the people behind the scenes usually do have a lot of jobs that are pivotal, that are important, and the ones that are behind the scenes, man, that are doing the sometimes really important work. And you don't need to be noticed to you know what I mean, when you do good, when you give out of generosity and being a good person. Never do it because you want to be known for it. Never do it because you want something good in return. Just do it out of the goodness of your heart, that you're going to bless somebody else, that they're going to feel good about it. You know what I mean? Let's see. 9, laws that forbid the carrying of arms disarm only those who are neither inclined nor determined to commit crime. Such laws make things worse for the assaulted and better for the assailants. They serve rather to encourage than to prevent homicides, for an unarmed man may be attacked with greater confidence than an armed man. Yeah, I mean, in the United States, man, we encourage criminals to attack law-abiding citizens, but we don't encourage law-abiding citizens to practice self-defense in case a brainwashed gangbanger moron is coming at you. And we discourage that in this country. And if that in and of itself, people, it should show you that we're being brainwashed, because nobody has the right to tell you that someone's allowed to rape you, man. If someone's going to come and try to rape you, you have every right to do something about it. And that's like, and I hate it when I hear, and I'm sorry to use the whole rape thing. I know that I should probably tone that down. But, I mean, it is that bad nowadays, where they literally tell you to just put your thumb in your mouth and bend over for people. And I say no. Be a man out there. Be a man and show people that you're a man of substance, that you live by a certain standard and principle and a certain zeal, that you don't put down your guard. You don't let people come at you and take you down because of whatever. It's not acceptable. That's not acceptable at all. We need to disdain the gangbanger culture morons out there. We need to look down on them with pity. We need to show them that their way of life is not right, so that they stop with the nonsense, so that the younger generation stop being influenced by them, and all the young influential kids out there aren't just like by default becoming gangbangers like they are today. They're not even real gangbangers. They just like to look the part, and they're idiots because they think that being tough is like virtuous when it's not. I train MMA every day, but am I going around blowing my chest out and bugging my eyes out at people? I don't need to do that. But what does that have to do with being peaceful and loving and all that? It has nothing to do with any of that. That's just trying to put up a front to gain yourself some credibility, to earn yourself some respect by some idiots. You want to be respected by other idiots, because only idiots are going to respect you, because I don't fall for intimidation. When I see people when I'm at the gym and they're being knuckleheads, and they, you know what I mean? When people try to like come at you or talk talk indirectly about you, but loud enough for you to hear it, that's cowardly and it's jealous, man. It's envy. And all you gotta do is be charismatic and be like, kind of let it roll off your shoulders and be kind of cute and smart about it. But everybody has their own way of fighting and whatever, but I don't usually fight people. If I don't start swinging until someone swung at me, because I don't like to. I'm not an idiot. I don't solve all my problems with fighting, dude. That's like the stupidest. That's how you know you're an idiot, is that you need to fight people for every little reason. You're weak. You're mentally weak. 10. In questions of power, then, let no more be heard of confidence in man, but bind him down for mischief by the chains of the Constitution. 11. I hold it that a little rebellion now and then is a good thing, and as necessary in the political world as storms in the physical. Just like how politicians try to put themselves over the law and the Constitution, you'll see that even in the church. Pastors will try to put themselves over the Word of God. And you'll see that now with Rick Warren and Bill Hybel, I forgot his name. You'll see that a lot of these guys are starting to write even doctrine now about how it's okay to be gay in the church. Man, the Christian church is going to be the ones that sell us out, the real Christians, man. So get ready for that, because they're the one. Because whenever you hear some dopey atheist say, "I have a friend, he says he's a Christian," and it says, "I don't care if your friend's Christian. I've read the Bible for myself." You don't justify whether something's right or wrong because your stupid friend thinks he's a Christian and he's going to twist Scripture to suit his own lifestyle, because it doesn't matter what he says. The Word of God this is the authority by which all truth is even considered truth, because it's the authoritative Word of God. It has authority. But if it doesn't have authority in the culture and in our society, guess what? What happens when, Israel in ancient times, goes and worships other gods? They get given up. Ultimately, God's sovereign and he causes these things to happen, but practically in steps and in ways they do start to happen. Because the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom, because what God says is good and true, and it is practically and in the real world what works. When you go up against God and you think your ideas are better than God, then you realize, man, that your heart is corrupt and you do things only to serve your own, ambition, and it's probably because the root of money, or the love of money is the root of all evil, and you love money or whatever. But that's all idolatry, all of it, because when you're willing to steal, kill, and all that, and lie, murder, whatever, when you're willing to break all the 10 commandments to do something that you want to do, and you'll do anything that it takes to do it, like the Satanists and the fake Jews, then you're ultimately against God, because you're doing things for yourself, you're worshiping yourself. 12. It is of great importance to set a resolution not to be shaken, never to tell an untruth. There is no vice so mean, so pitiful, so contemptible, and he who permits himself to tell a lie once finds it much easier to do it a second and a third time, till at length it becomes habitual. He tells lies without attending to it, the truths without the world's believing him. This falsehood of the tongue leads to that of the heart, and in time depraves all its good disposition. 13. I am not among those who fear the people. They and not the rich are our dependents for continued freedom. And to preserve their independence, we must not let our rulers load us with perpetual debt. We must make our election between economy and liberty, or profusion and servitude. Now, I love all my friends, whether they're idiot gangbangers or not. And even if they're watching this and they say, "Hey, you're talking about me," I'll tell them, "Yeah, I don't give a damn. You are an idiot." Because, you know what, I love you enough, man, to tell you, because in real life, man, I'm not talking about politics. You know what I mean? When I'm hanging out with my friends, these are weighty issues. The Bible and all that stuff. Like, for example, I'll only mention it if I feel compelled to. Like, for example, last night, we were watching South Park, me and my friends. Me and my good buddies that I've known since middle school. And man, they're just blaspheming God's name the whole time. They're just like, you know what I mean? They're just saying it like out loud and vulgarly, and it's just it makes me cringe. And I notice nobody else does, because I'm the only Christian. I'm just like, ooh, when they say it. And then my friend was like, he was about to change it, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? It is good that you changed that, because, dude, I can't stand when people use God's name in vain. It makes me cringe. And my friend that I witnessed to, he walked out of the room because he thinks I'm an idiot. He thinks I'm an intolerant person. He thinks that I impose my beliefs on people, and I tell him, no, dude, I'm just a regular Christian. You've never met a Christian is your problem, and you think that the postmodernism Christians out there are the real Christians, and they're not. Because there's something more important than just being loving and trying to be relevant with people, to connect with them in a way so that you could get the gospel out. There's a better love out there, because It's better to openly rebuke someone than to hide your love for them. And what I mean by love is that sometimes rebuke, the things that don't seem loving are loving because you're telling someone the truth. And you don't want people to live in the dark, because we can go back to the allegory of the cave by Plato, because that's the reality of what we live, man. We're in a cave and we're all just going to hell in chains. And some of us have broken out of that chain gang, and we've gotten out of the cave and we've seen the real world, and we want to go back in the cave and try to save people. You see what I mean? And if you don't have a heart like that, man, you need to ask God to help you with that, because that's not good, man. The watcher is, if you're a watcher, meaning you're a Christian, you're awake, God's going to have you accountable for the people he's given you, man. Think about that. That's real. You got to love the people that God has given you in your life, whether they don't like you or whatever, dude. You got to witness to them, and you got to tell them the truth, because there's nothing better in life than to know the truth, man. It's really, it will set you free. 14, the disease of liberty is catching. Those armies will take, the disease of liberty is catching. Those armies will take it in the south, carry it thence to their own country, spread there the infection of revolution and representative government, and raise its people from the prone condition of brutes to the erect attitude of men. 15, every government degenerates when trusted to the rulers of the people alone. The people themselves, therefore, are its only safe depositories. Notice that Barack Obama always, like, he refers to us as a democracy, a democratic. He doesn't even, I don't even think, mention the word republic. But we are a republic, and the people that are in power, man, they're not allowed to put themselves over the law, and they use words to justify that. You know what I mean? Like that they are above the law. And when you have a democracy, all democracies, dude, in history, look it up. All democracies turn into despotisms, man. They turn communist, because you see, with the whole Bill of Rights and Constitution, man, the thing that's really important there is that your liberty's given by God. That's what gives you your liberty. But when your liberty is given to you by the government, man, then their special interest becomes the thing that drives the country in the direction that it's going. Homosexuals start to become the people that tell you what you can and can't do with your business. They could tell you, hey, that's not right. I want you to do my cake. I want you to pay for it. I want you to, you know what I mean? It's just absurd because of the whole political correctness nonsense. And it's all by design. You understand that the beast is making war with the saints right now? And that when you notice all of the issues that are going on today, it's all geared toward Christianity and toward the Christian. Even in the Middle East and with ISIS and all that, everyone hates us. Why? Because we believe in God, and God is with us, and we're ultimately gonna win. But it's just a matter of people living in the world and thinking that it's all about bubblegum, and that was a dumb analogy. But they want it to be easygoing and you know what I mean, and just all about Robin Williams and the media and all that. They just want it all to be about that, and it's not. Life is not just all about that stuff, and that's why they hate us because we pull the curtain and then we say, look, man, this is the real world, and they go, no, I want to watch the puppet show. I want to just be in the dark and do this all day, because then I don't have to think about stuff. And that's the problem with the fallen nature that we are, is that we're lazy. Everybody's lazy spiritually, productively, and when it comes to like pulling your own weight in the world. 16. Still one thing more, fellow citizens, a wise and frugal government, which shall restrain men from injuring one another, shall leave them otherwise free to regulate their own pursuits of industry and improvement, and shall not take from the mouth of labor the bread of it has earned. This is the sum of good government, and this is necessary to close the circle of our felicities. 17. A private central bank in issuing the public currency is a greater menace to the liberties of the people than a standing army. We must not let our rulers load us with perpetual debt. Yeah, if you knew what was going on in his day with the whole Federalists papers and all that, in James Madison's day, man, amazing stuff right there, because the robber barons and all that. You guys, man, get a liberal education. Go find out what your Western heritage is. Go find out what the American heritage is, and don't be a bastard. Don't be a cultural bastard. Go find out that Jerusalem is your mom and that Greece is your dad, or whatever, or vice versa. That we get, like, man, if only you knew how we got to this point. It wasn't because of science. You know what I mean? Like, oh, the magic word. No, dude, philosophy, liberal arts, morality. These things, when you ask real scientists that didn't even consider themselves scientists because they weren't up their own butt, they were so, you know what I mean, arrogant. But Isaac Newton and Francis Bacon, man, anybody, cartographers, people that mapped rivers and all kinds of stuff, and they say that, you know, that reading the Bible helped them understand these things and to bring them out into the you know, scientific community and all that. But nowadays, man, everyone's so they use science as a magic word to hide behind, to get away from God. And you can run from God, but you cannot hide. He's always present, whether you don't want to acknowledge that or not. It doesn't matter whether you're conscious to it or not. He is here right now. He is before you. He's behind you. He's everywhere. You cannot escape him. 18. Born in other countries, yet believing you could be happy in this, our laws acknowledge, as they should do, your right to join us in society, conforming, as I doubt not you will do, to our established rules. That these rules shall be as equal as prudential considerations will admit, will certainly be the aim of our legislatures, general and particular. 19. I have been happy in believing that whatever follies we may be led into as to foreign nations, we shall never give up our union, the last anchor of our hope, and that alone which is to prevent this heavenly country from becoming an arena of gladiators. 20. I know no safe depository of the ultimate powers of the society but the people themselves, and if we think them not enlightened enough to exercise their control with a wholesome discretion, the remedy is not to take it from them, but to inform their discretion by education. This is the true corrective of abuses of constitutional power. I think it was something like, I think Hitler said something like, I don't care who owns the money, just give me control of the books. See, Adolf Hitler, who brainwashed an entire generation, he understood that the education of people is one of the greatest catalysts when it comes to the direction of a nation. Because if you dumb down the people, then you can get them to go along with the things that you have engineered by design to take down the country from the inside out. You see, only Hitler didn't use it to take his own country down. He used it for global conquest. Now, the creepy thing is that the people that like funded him and all that, they're still alive today, and they still hate certain people. And these people believe in evolution, and they believe that some people are inferior to others, and they believe that they're ultimately that they're like the rulers, that they're God, and that they have control over you, and that they can make you eat your children, and that they can make you, you know, they're creepy bastards, man. Let's just put it that way. But you know what I mean? Education, you guys. Get informed. Read a book. Put down the electronics. Start to pick up a real book and start to study stuff, especially if you don't have a job. Use your time wisely to do something productive and gain knowledge, man. If you don't pursue knowledge, you're dopey. You're like, you know that some people, when Moses led the Israelites out of Egypt in the Exodus, did you know that some people stayed and still wanted to be slaves? That's crazy, but that's true with people, man. You just rather be stupid and a slave than live up to what you're called to do, and to just go out and to live life and live life the way that it's supposed to be lived, as an adventure. You're a man. You're supposed to be adventurous, and you're supposed to be dangerous, man. But everybody's so like, oh, well, I'd rather just get a secure job and sit in a house all day. And dude, that's not the way we were made to be. But grow up out there, man. And I love, you know, that I tell you this out of love, man. And I don't want you guys to be brainwashed forever. I want you guys to wake up and become men and take up what you guys have been given by God to take in and lead and have that responsibility and to live up to it, and not be like Adam and shy away and let the devil beat up everybody in your family in front of you and not do anything about it. You see what I mean? But anyways, God bless you. Subscribe and come back again later. See ya.